This is WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I don't know shit about fuck.
Oh, hell. It must be Friday. Oh, yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Friday Night Freedom here on WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. My name is Koz, and that's Pooky.
Hey. And
I guess we'll be here at your disposal for the next, I don't know, a little bit, couple hours, hopefully. Hopefully, either until we get
unforeseeable future.
Unless we get,
I couldn't even get it out.
Unless we get zucked or I press the wrong button or something. What's up, Zachary? Hello, first time seeing this. Well, thanks, Zachary, for being here. And Brad said hello. He says alcohol of choice is Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Is that any good? I haven't had that.
Yeah, I mean that's I guess a preferential thing. You know, I'm more of a porter and stout guy, so I mean it's kind of good, but.
Is it like the pumpkin spice of beer?
Oh, well, they do come out around the same time, but
yeah, I've seen all that pumpkin spice stuff hitting already in the stores. You know, the Halloween stuff has been out. I've got neighbors down the street that have already got like big decorations up there. They go nuts for Halloween. They don't necessarily do a whole lot for Christmas. So I'm happy to see. There was no Halloween last year at all. No one was setting up decorations or nothing like that.
That was my favorite holiday growing up as a kid, and it's gone downhill so much since I was a kid. It's depressing.
Zachary's like, don't be hating on the pumpkin spice.
There was a beer. Who was it? No, never mind. I'm getting confused. This Yingling came out with a Hershey syrup, black and tan or stout.
Oh.
Hershey. Oh, that shit was good.
See, we do. I mean, I'm happy that we do have Yingling in the stores, but it's like there's the light version, there's the regular version. There's not a lot of variety of the Yingling flavors.
Oh, you don't get the black and tan, and
I haven't seen one. I'm not saying that there's not.
They always come in a 6-pack. They don't really. I've never seen black and tans come in cans, but I might be wrong. But
I did see a 4-pack of Guinness non-alcoholic. That's not the same.
Get it? What?
Yeah.
Did you just?
I know.
I came out of your mouth.
I should have taken a picture of it because I was like, I had to double take. I'm like, what?
Guinness non-alcoholic.
Yeah, it was a little 4-pack Guinness non-alcoholic.
What's the difference between a Gonzaro bee and a chickpea? Nothing.
Oh my gosh, thing. Doug, get out of my head. We had that conversation at work today. This is crazy. Because we had a Mediterranean truck food truck come through work, and I ended up getting just a gyro just because they're good. We have the bar set. We have this place called Gyros to Go, which is down the street from where I work. For $6.50 a gyro, you get. I mean, it's a big gyro. It's full. You're full after that. The very first time I ate, I saw that they were $6.50 each. And they're like, how many do you want? I'm like, let me get 2. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, should I get 3? And they're like, no. They're like, no. They're like, no, you shouldn't. I asked, they asked how many I want. And I said 2. And they said, okay, is that, are you sure? I said, well, yeah, should I get 3? And they're like, no, you shouldn't even get 2. I'm like, for $6.50? And they're like, dude, they're big. So I ended up getting 2, and I ended up hating life afterwards. That was a bad mistake. 1 is enough. So now whenever I get those gyros, I get the gyro, and then you got to get baklava after that. They've got pretty good baklava. I make better baklava.
We don't have anything like that around here, which blows my mind. I live in a tourist attraction area. We don't have Korean barbecue, Middle Eastern food. There is a place here that looks amazing, but I wanted to go for my birthday, and I showed pictures to my family, and they were like, we can't do that. And I was like, why? And they showed me the pictures. It's like literally sit down on pillows. It's like, I can't sit down on a pillow, and my grandfather can't sit down.
Oh, so you sit like cross-legged on the floor?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's like legit. Like, it's like, but
hey, Ollie, what's going on?
It was like $40 a plate for some Middle Eastern food, and I was like, being in DC, you can find kebab almost on every corner.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the garbanzo / chickpea conversation. Anyway, we had this this Mediterranean truck show up, and of course I got my go-to is the gyro. A buddy of mine had a falafel. I'm like, I don't know what a falafel is. I've seen it on the menu. I don't know what it is. And they're like, it's basically what the hell did he describe it? He said it's a ball. It's just a ball of whatever that falafel material is, and I think it's chickpea, but mashed chickpeas are hummus, right?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. You add the oil and the flavoring, and you get hummus. But yeah.
So he said it was pretty good. So maybe the next time they come around, I'll have a falafel. But
falafel's good. Falafel's good.
Thanks, Mike. You too.
Hush puppies made out of chickpeas. Exactly. There you go. That's
okay.
How to describe it.
So it's like a deep fried hummus ball of excellence.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. If you want to call it that.
But I do like all the food. We have some really good food trucks that come through. Just some of the regular. We have some comfort, so we have a soul food truck that comes around. And they got a really good smoked meatloaf, which is fantastic. Of course, the regular burger people, and then we have a breakfast. We have a breakfast food truck that comes around for lunch. So you get people getting lunch, and it's like a big ass plate of like French toast or waffles or eggs and grits, and it's just. It's pretty cool. My company got rid of our cafeteria. So to make up for that, they kind of cycle in a couple times a week some food trucks. So that's pretty cool. Love
food truck. Food trucks. They don't see them around my area because of some stupid law that protects the restaurants because food trucks are competition.
Oh, your brick and mortar lobby is
yes.
keeping the food trucks from making up. That would be so profitable on the beach.
On the beach. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I've been saying that for years. It's like, why are you fighting this? Why are you fighting this? Let the food trucks come. There's good money coming in, but no. Every brick and mortar restaurants that all serve just a tiny. If you go into Myrtle Beach, don't expect much.
You need to get the old people out of the city council that make these decisions.
That's just if you plan on taking a vacation to Murder Beach, don't do it.
Okay, what's the difference between a waffle stomp in the showers and stomping your feet for waffles? Well, stomp your feet for waffles, you tend to get waffles. You do a waffle stomp in the shower, and you tend to need to wash your feet again. I haven't heard that term in a while.
Waffle stomp.
Well, it's been. The last time out, it was Iraq because people were getting in trouble for waffle stomping and clogging up the drains.
A lot of people do that.
It's so gross to me.
It's
so gross.
It blows my mind. But like my buddy was explaining to me, he's like, apparently a lot of people do that. No, okay, well, I've never heard of anyone doing that. That's gross to me.
Yeah,
whatever.
Especially after
use the toilet.
Put a little bit too much in there, and then guess what? You got to clean that crap out, literally.
That's some crap that I don't want to clean.
Exactly. So we got let's start the show a little bit with a safety brief. This includes you, Pooky.
Oh,
there is a storm coming. And no one seems to know where it's going. So look at the little spaghetti graph here.
Spaghetti graph. Yeah, I've been paying attention. I've been paying close attention to this because I've got a friend that's a meteorologist, real good meteorologist. Not your TV guy. And he's saying that some of these models are a little out of date, and he's predicting it's going to swing out through the bottom of Florida into Jacksonville. Is what he's predicting. So
I've heard. Well, let me share the news here. So Tropical Wave Invest 98L is near the southern windward islands. The system has a high chance of becoming a tropical depression over the next 2 days.
It's upgraded to a depression. It's called Depression 9 now.
Depression 9. Awesome.
Yes.
So it's passing south of the Dominican Republic today and tonight, and it will move south of Jamaica on Sunday, and then take a turn north and come close to Cuba or the Yucatan Peninsula on Tuesday. And this is where the forecast just gets kind of, no one knows. Forecast models have been very consistent in bringing the system into the Gulf by the end of next week, but there is still quite a bit of uncertainty. There can be large swings in the models for this far out, but they're kind of. So you're going to see this, and it looks like that black line, which is in the middle of the spaghetti thing, is the most reliable track. But I've heard that it's going to be going a little bit further east of the Yucatan Peninsula and closer to Cuba, and then it's going to be hitting Florida, the Florida coast.
That one was yesterday's track.
Yeah, this is yesterday's. This is from last night. I've had a
today,
very busy week.
No, I've seen the most up-to-date track. It's definitely looking like it's coming into Florida. The big question is, will it miss Cuba? And like, if it misses Cuba, it'll gain strength. It'll lose strength if it hits Cuba. That's the big difference right now.
Okay.
They're predicting. I watch the Weather Channel religiously.
It's got to move quite a distance east for it to hit Cuba. So I don't think it's going to do that.
I think it's already shifted that way.
Toward Cuba.
I gotta look it up. I'm looking at the NOAA bubble of uncertainty, and the red area is going through Cuba right now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of movement. But that's why you have these spaghetti that they're like, okay, we've got 20 people are taking a guess.
It's the big thing to pay attention to is, what do they call it, the 5-day bubble or whatever it is?
Yeah.
That takes all the models and takes the average, kind of like where it's supposed to go, and shows like all the models are pointing. The 1 and 2 and 3 days are very accurate enough. When you get out to 5 days, that's where you get those crazy spaghetti models at all over the place, because they have no idea where it's going at.
Yeah, I mean, look at the one that has it going. Not even up to the Yucatan Peninsula, it kind of hangs a left and it heads south, and it goes into over into the Atlantic or the Pacific.
It goes through Belize and down through the Pacific. I see what you're saying. Yeah. There's one that actually shows it dying out in the Gulf. So
what they ought to do, in Vegas, I'll bet you they'll take a spaghetti model that's 5 days out, and you can bet on which one. You got one of 20 chances.
Well, two or three of the spaghetti models that I've seen, it's starting to pump its way up there, but it's hitting directly where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna go through Florida, go out to the Atlantic, and hook back into the coast.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So please be aware of your weather and these storms. And I was going to say, these storms not only affect the coastal areas, but also the areas that they cross as they move inland. And just like you said, it can hop across Florida and then kind of strengthen up before it hits, Georgia or South Carolina.
I think right now they've put kind of like, I guess it's watches out or warnos. I don't know what they call them in the NOAA or whatever, but anywhere on the East Coast up to North Carolina has kind of got a watch right now for this thing. I went and got our water today, because it was like, if the spaghetti model just shows it coming close to South Carolina, all the old ladies are going to be out there buying all the water up for no reason. So
time to get the bread and milk. Yeah, we're enjoying some pretty, please don't take this the wrong way, inexpensive gas. Granted, it's, $1.30 more than it was before Biden took over, but it's still right at $3 a gallon here. Mm-hmm. I imagine probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, once these models, it's mature a little bit, I think you're going to see gas prices probably tick up about 20 or 30 cents a gallon.
Florida is notorious for running out of gas. Like when I lived down there, like anytime there'd be like, oh, there's a storm, it could come here. You could find gas anywhere. You'd have to drive 30, 40 miles out of town to get gas.
Not that there was long lines. It's like the pumps were dry.
No, people would freak out. Like they would literally freak out. You couldn't find water. Apparently Florida's supposed to be cool about hurricanes. Like, let's have a party, but like when you're in a retirement town, like the old people the snowbirds especially, they freak the hell out. They're like, oh God, we're gonna die.
So it's let's have a party after we buy all of the gasoline and then all the plywood from Home Depot.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of the Home Depots and Lowe's have like really strict like generator policies, because what people would do is they'd buy a generator, use it, and then when the power would come on, they'd take it back because what was a 60-day policy or some crap like that, no question return policy. So they would use it and then be like, yeah, I didn't like that.
This doesn't work right. It doesn't give enough power.
Yeah, and it happens it happens in Texas. It happens in Florida. Anyway, all along the coast, it happens a lot.
Yeah, but then there's a good opportunity to go get a very cheap, nice Honda generator, like the one that was on the back of that food truck today. You could have a conversation standing next to this generator, man. It was pretty awesome.
Amazing. That's amazing.
And it was a big, not big, large, but it was a high capacity generator. It did 208. It did 115.
Those are illegal in California.
What? Oh, the gas generators.
No, you said high capacity gas generator. I was like, that's definitely illegal.
It didn't mean like military. It's a military. It's a military. What are they? It's an assault. It's an assault generator.
No one should own military grade generators.
Save them for the riffraff civilians, right? So anyway, storms are coming. Especially if you're on the Gulf Coast or maybe Louisiana. I don't think it'll come toward Texas, but yeah, it may jump over.
I got bones on Lake Charles because just Lake Charles cannot escape the damn hurricanes last couple of years.
But the thing is, if you're on the what are they, windward, leeward. So if you're on the windward side, you're okay because you're on that's the flood, but then it gathers. It's turning counterclockwise, so it gathers all that moisture and then dumps it on the leeward side. I think I got the words right.
Japan's about to get hit. Speaking of tornado hurricanes, I mean, they call them cyclones.
Oh, they got a tropical cyclone?
Yeah, but they're calling it like a mega or super or something crazy, like one of those catchwords. But apparently NOAA calls it that because the winds get over 150 miles an hour.
Holy moly!
And I saw the track for Japan. I mean, you don't see weather for other countries most of the time. I like to just browse around, just look. And this sucker is going to hit the whole island country, like pretty much. I think it might miss Okinawa, but it's going to go through Nagasaki the whole way up. So I hope Japan's braced for a crazy week.
Yeah, I just typed in Japan weather, and it's like the first thing. It's all in Japanese, but it says typhoon weather information updated 1 hour ago.
The mega typhoon or something they call it. I can't remember what it is. Something crazy, but that's 150. That's a cat 5 here, and what we call it cat category. So
we got. I mean, when I was in Korea, we had typhoons. We did have typhoons, and man, it didn't matter how much wet weather gear you were wearing because you're either going to get soaked from the rain or soaked from the sweat because of the nasty humidity over there. So you're going to get soaked either way. So there's our weather update here at WTF Nation Radio. I'd also like to mention that none of us are meteorologists, so don't take what we say verbatim. Tune into your local.
I have a meteorologist in my family. Does that count?
Well, you're a meteorologist adjacent. But please tune into your local weather stations for the most current information. But one thing that is for certain is Monday, and we did a story last week about the NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or the DART test. That's happening this Monday.
So wait, it's touched down, or are they launching it? Huh?
No. It's launched. It's going to impact. It's going to impact one of those two asteroids in an attempt to redirect its trajectory. So on Monday, September 26th, the broadcast, if you go to NASA TV, you can watch the live feed. So at 5:30, and this is Eastern time. So this is all the times that I mentioned are Eastern time. 5:30, you can watch a live feed from NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test Facility. They're going to be streaming live video from the impactor. At 6 p.m., live coverage begins for NASA's the actual test. Impact with the asteroid
Dimorphos is expected at 7:14 p.m. That's Eastern time, so 6:14 here in the central part of the United States, and Mountain time would be 5, and then you do the math. You know what I'm thinking is if I get off of work on time, I might go live, and it would be like the WTF Nation Radio educational broadcast. Thank you, Nass. I'm thinking we can probably simulcast that without too much blowback. I don't know.
I think isn't NASA considered what they call it, like it's not proprietary. It's considered public.
It's public domain because I mean our tax dollars pay for it. So
if I want to rebroadcast to NASA, I should be able to do it. Huh? I'm just saying.
One would think we can gather.
You said taxes.
Taxation is theft.
Put the rules.
I had the taxation is theft thing covering up Putin's weenie this morning or earlier. God, I love that. God,
what happened with Artemis? It was supposed to launch on my birthday, but I haven't heard of Artemis.
I think it's going through repairs and testing and stuff. They had a hydrogen leak, so they couldn't launch.
Oh, okay. It's just like I had no idea. Like I was like, it was supposed to launch on my birthday and didn't launch. I haven't heard anything about it, and I guess I don't know. I guess they had a hydrogen leak.
Why don't they just put some dump some bar stop leak in there and then just go?
I mean, the '60s were wild back then. I don't know how they got rockets up in there.
I mean,
using socks and
throw some Fix-A-Flat in that damn thing.
Bubble gum. What's that green slime you use for your tire?
Oh my gosh! You know, I've got in my car. My car didn't come with a spare tire, which really freaks me out. Whenever I get on the road and I drive, I'm like, I don't have a spare tire. If I do have a blowout, I'm screwed. I have to call AAA. I've also got roadside assistance with my extended warranty and stuff. But still, I drive some pretty weird. Like when I went to San Antonio a couple weeks ago, that point between Georgetown and like San Marcos, there's nothing there. There's not a whole lot of anything there. So you're gonna call, AAA. This is Koz. I need help. Okay, we'll be there. 6 hours later. So I don't like that. So I've looked into buying at least a donut for my car, and even buying just a donut. You got to buy the rim. You have to buy the tire. So that's 2 separate purchases. Of course, the rim does come with the lug nuts, but then you have to pay a mechanic at whatever the labor rate is to mount the tire. So you're looking at like $700 after.
Just for a donut?
Just for a donut.
Nah, I do it myself.
I might find a suitable donut that matches used. It doesn't have to get me 1,000 miles. You
don't gotta pick apart. You gotta pick apart.
What's that?
Like a junkyard where you just pay $5 to walk in and you bring your own tools in there and you can rip whatever you want off the vehicles.
I don't know. It's been, tell you the truth, I haven't been to a junkyard since, let me think, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And that was back in the 90s, early 90s.
I used to like going to the pick apart once a week just to walk through their inventory to see what they had.
I bought a car. I bought a 1977 Dodge Monaco, and it was in relatively okay condition, except the back left window was broken. So I did go through a junkyard. I found a car that had this window in it. I bought it. It was cheap. It was like $10. Of course I had to take the door apart, took the window out. I put it in my car, and it lasted maybe 3 weeks, and then it shattered again. There was something in the mechanism that just kind of tweaked it. I hit a bump, or someone closed the door, and it just went whoosh, shattered.
Because we used to rip anything we could get out of vehicles at the junkyard. Just like, oh, look at this. This is cool. Rip it out. Spend $100 for just plain junk, just because, hey, I might need this part someday down the road, Yeah,
but then the next thing you know, you got all this cool stuff in your garage, and you're like, damn it. Now you gotta get rid of it.
Yeah, that's all scrap prices are good for,
Back then, maybe now it'd be worth it. And we'll talk about Tesla. I do have a Tesla story later. So Lloyd Austin
Lloyd, double COVID Lloyd, quadruple masked, septuple inoculated Lloyd. He's a sec def. He has, and this is good news. This is good news. I don't mean to talk about Lloyd that way. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has ordered a sweep, and this is for our active duty folks here that are listening. Sweeping a series of new benefits and initiatives so that's also that service members and military families can save money on housing, groceries, childcare, and other necessities. This came out last night. I haven't had a chance to peruse it.
I saw it pop on TikTok a couple times today, but I didn't really research it much.
But it's here it is. If you want some information, more information, and you're going to want some more information, go to the U.S. Department of Defense website at defense.gov, and you can find out all of this information. For service members and families stationed in areas where the housing market is glowing hot, finding affordable rentals can be difficult, even with their housing allowances. Naval Air Station Key West, Florida is one such location. A single E-3 sailor stationed there receiving a housing allowance of $2,364 a month. But but that's not enough to cover rent. That's how expensive stuff is getting.
Yeah, it's crazy in the DC area. I think I was making close to $2,700 a month in the DC area.
So now
my housing.
Austin has ordered automatic increases in the BAH for active duty service members living in 28 areas where the cost of rental housing has increased by an average of more than 20% above this year's BAH rates. The increases will take effect in October, so next month. Well, what month is this? Is this September? Is this September?
Next month. Next month, yeah.
Next month. And the DoD is also reviewing the prospective BAH tables to make sure that the calculations reflect changes in the housing market. There's a lot of good information here on the DoD website, and so please go and check it out. They got some really cool pictures. I was just noticing this dude right here. That dude's a beast. Freaking Marines they're just meat with uniforms. Anyway. So yeah, please go and get some current information, get some real current official information, and then of course utilize whatever chain of command that you need to take advantage of these programs. I don't know if it's going to be like a retroactive thing.
A couple of weeks ago, there was a senator talking about like food stamp, SNAP benefits for soldiers.
They were wanting to authorize food stamps for service members. Now, I do understand that. I mean, even when I was in, we were like, kind of pushing or suggesting, why can't service members? Because, you might get, a PV2, a wife and his 3 kids. How much money are you making on a PV2's salary? Not much. And, you still got to, the cost of just living was going up at the time. And we were doing like food drives and helping our folks in the units, try to, help survive. Or they were like eating. We would get them into the chow hall and they would be eating on post just to eat, just to have food in their bellies. It wasn't. I don't remember it being as pervasive as the way that things are right now. Right now, it's nuts. Right now, it's just terrible. And things have changed since I've been in, so I really can't speak on any authority. Maybe ICE can do that. I can't. He's got a little bit more recent experience than I do.
Yeah, well, I've been out for going on almost 10 years now, so I won't really be able to talk much.
happy anniversary of your DD-214.
I hear some of these younger kids talking about the Army. I'm like, you did what?
It was weird. Even when I went to Iraq, I had already been out. When I went to Iraq, I had been out for a dozen years or so. See, I got out in 96. And I went to Iraq in 2011. So I had been out for a good while, 14 years. And these soldiers are there. First, I was kind of shocked at a 20-something year old E6, E7. But then these guys are like having Oh, it's my reset day. You can't bother me on my reset day. You know, they work 6 days straight and then they get 1 day off. And they're not supposed to be bothered, which is cool. I mean, take care of your troops and stuff. But it was new. It was new to me. It was
24/7 when I was there, so I mean.
Yeah. So speaking of war and stuff and things, we got this Russia thing happening. Of course, everyone knows, the Russia invading Ukraine, which fucking sucks. But Vladimir Putin put out an edict. He's wanting to not conscript people, but he's just like, mandatory service, like, or it's one of those if you have served, if you're of military age, we're going to call you back. So I guess that's a stop loss callback or whatever. So one-way flights, after he made this announcement, one-way flights in Russia were rocketing in prices and selling out very, very fast on Wednesday after Putin ordered the immediate call-up of 300,000 reservists. That's what it was, reservists. Putin's announcement, made in an early morning television address, raised fears that some men of fighting age would not be allowed to leave the country. So what do normal people do? They leave the country. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that the call-up would be limited to those with experience as professional soldiers and that students and conscripts would not be called up. Regardless of what the Kremlin says, protests have been popping up. As of Wednesday night, more than 1,000 people have been detained across Russia in a crackdown on anti-war protests across 24 cities in Russia. Direct flights from Moscow to Istanbul in Turkey and this city I can't pronounce in Armenia, both destinations allow Russians to enter without visa, were sold out immediately on Wednesday. Some routes with stopovers, including those from Moscow to Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, were also unavailable, while the cheapest flights to Dubai cost more than 300,000 rubles, or about $5,000. About five times the average monthly wage. As of yesterday, huge queues have built by the borders with Finland, Georgia, and Mongolia as tens of thousands try to escape Russia. Protests erupted in 38 cities after Putin announced a partial mobilization in a TV address to bolster crumbling efforts in Ukraine. But they have been met with baton-wielding cops, and at least 1,386 people have been arrested. And this is as of a couple of days ago, so I imagine it's a whole lot more. As the fear of conscription ripples through Russia, some men have been hauled out of bed in the middle of the night and told that they have 4 hours to pack their shit and report. There are reports of people cowering behind doors and refusing to accept the military summonses. Men who refused to open the doors at night were handed the summonses when they got to work the next morning. One man made a last-ditch, this is kind of funny, one man made a last-ditch attempt to escape his enlistment by leaping out the window. Police are still searching for him. You know what? If shit ever popped off here in the United States, you're going to have patriotic Americans that'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go. If it's rightful, I think every civilian in Russia knows that what Russia did in Ukraine and what they're doing in Ukraine is just a definite soup sandwich. It was a bad idea. It was wrong. And now they're trying to get out. They don't support the administration. But it's Russia. It's Russia. You can't you allow it. You've allowed it, so that's the way that they do things. So orders have been issued stating that all men in the 2 million strong pool of reserves are banned now from leaving the region. And this is as recent as today. They actually put a stop order on if you're of military age, you can't leave the country. Within hours of Putin's address, roads to Russia's borders were jammed as desperate people tried to flee out of fear of being conscripted. At airports, men seeking to leave Russia were being filtered into these other sinister-looking queues to check if they were liable to be mobilized. If so, they were being blocked from departing even if they already had tickets and visas to another country. But it seems like there's not much organization to the summonses because there's a 62-year-old trauma surgeon who received a summons, even though he should be exempt because, number one, he's a professional, and number two, he's 62 freaking years old.
Yeah, well.
There was a couple of 17-year-olds that had received conscription orders. Latvia, one of Russia's neighbors to the east, has already stated that they're not going to take any Russian refugees. So I've got a feeling, and this is just Koz's feeling. I got no forward knowledge that something big is coming out of Russia. Not like they're going to turn the tide and they're going to be winning the war in Ukraine or anything, but it's going to be something different. More oppression of the Russian citizens, more restrictions. I heard that Putin was like threatening to use nukes. He says, well, we're going to nuke the West.
Yeah, well, he was threatening to use nukes on Ukraine and stuff like that. No?
You know what? With all of his people, not evacuating. They're not evacuating. They're not pulling out. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit that there would be so much desperation in Putin that he would just lob a couple of maybe some low yield nukes in there. He's already got 2 damaged nuclear reactors in there to deal with.
Yeah, well, there's a treaty that says if any radiation falls on any of the NATO nations, that NATO will mobilize against Russia or something like that.
What's the status of the application to NATO for Ukraine?
I don't know. There's a couple other countries that weren't. Finland?
Dude,
I believe?
Finland. I don't know if Switzerland jumped. Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden, yeah. Switzerland wants nothing to do with it.
Dude, you'd be a little fucked up if Sweden says, nah, yeah, we're going to side with these folks over here. I mean, because they're like, Finland is literally a neighbor of Russia, and then Sweden is right in the middle.
Right next to it, yeah. I don't know. There's other things popping off. You said they were accepting people in Armenia, like Russian people. You said they don't need visa to go to Armenia or something like that.
There were a couple of countries in. I'm trying to do this from memory, and that's not working for me. No.
I'm trying to just put the 4D chess pieces here.
Let's see, Georgia. Was it Georgia? No, Istanbul and Armenia. Both destinations allow Russians to enter without a visa.
So Armenia, isn't there some crap going on in Armenia right now, where there's a fight going on between what's their
Tajikistan?
Tajikistan. Uzbekistan.
Azerbaijan.
There you go. So that's popping off. He's pulling up the reserves. Iran's having mass protests right now.
Dude, that's a bad news in Iran, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's crazy.
No, it's actually good news in Iran. People are getting fucked up, but it's good news in Iran.
But well, I mean, they're finally stepping up. But all this is culminating at the same time. Like you got that.
Okay,
North
tell me
Korea.
about you're a tinfoil hat guy. I know you're wearing a black hat, but what is special about September 24th?
I keep hearing about this, and I have no idea. People are like, September 24th, the end of the world. I've heard. It's one of those weird apocalyptic dates, I guess.
Okay,
I gotta go to my board and say how many end of the worlds I've survived in my lifetime, and add another.
We're gonna add this to the list. That's tomorrow. I mean, so I'm glad this would be the last.
Or today. Today.
Depending on where you live.
Yeah.
I guess if you're in Australia, it's literally tomorrow. Today, right now.
Yeah. International Dateline.
So this may be the last broadcast here on WTF Nation Radio.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe a EMP massive thing will wipe out all technology and people will go back to being cavemen again and everything will be normal.
Yeah, we might have to actually talk to people and barter in person as opposed to on Craigslist and shit. So more Russia. God, I hate Russia. The former head of the Moscow Aviation Institute has died after falling down several flights of stairs, the institute reported on Wednesday. Scientist Anatoly Grashanchenko, age 72,
quote, fell from a great height, according to the university, which described his death in the Russian capital as an accident. Paramedics were called and pronounced Grashchenko dead at the scene. This seems to be happening a lot. Lots of accidental death going on in Russia. Not only for people who are pro-Putin, but those who are against Putin are at risk too, even more so. All of these dudes that you're seeing on your screen have died under mysterious circumstances. Ivan Pechorin, a top manager at a corporation for the development of the Far East and the Arctic, was found dead in Vladivostok after allegedly falling off of his luxury yacht.
Igor they had information on Hillary Clinton.
Igor Nozov died from a reported stroke after taking over the reins of a company that I can't pronounce. It's some stupid company. Ravil Maganov died in what Russian news agency cited as an accidental fall from a hospital window. Whoops. Whoops.
Accidentally falling out of a hospital
window. Yeah, that was in the official report, and the list goes on. There's the list that I saw. There's like 40 names on that list. All but a few cases, all but a few causes of death were really, these were lame. Hit by a bus. Several of the fell out of a window. ... And there were a couple that listed, shot during a drunken fight, listed as the cause of death. So yeah, that's Russia, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of support for the effort in Ukraine. Damn it!
Someone mentioned the whole what was it? The Russians fleeing. I seen a video of like them showing the flights out of Moscow and like how crazy it was. Like just watch the flights.
Oh, I should have pulled up FlightAware.
Yes, but guy posted it up, but then he mentioned something along the lines of it's like this was February, I think. Back in February when you had men lining up in Ukraine to fight the Russians. And now you've got men flying out of the country in Russia to get away from the war in Ukraine. So, I mean, who's the more patriotic, group of men?
I don't know. I think, if the United States, and I'm just using Mexico or Canada or even a province in Canada as an example, if Biden were to wake up and say, fuck it, and this is what South Park was about. We need to start a war with Canada. I don't think anybody. I think everyone would just kind of turn around and go, "What, dude? No.
We don't need that.
That's just stupid." I think all the disinformation from Russia. They were like, these are one of the impetuses of them invading Ukraine was Ukraine's full of Nazis. We need to get rid of the Nazis, and he rallied people around, getting rid of Nazis, which is just crazy to me. Considering the source.
There is a brigade in Ukraine that is got Nazi ties, but that's about the only thing that I don't see the Ukrainians walking around flying, the bad checker mark thing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You can't. It's like here in Texas, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a church. Oh yeah.
In Europe, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting something or somebody that has Nazi ties. It's not like they're brown shirts. Just it's just a unit that I don't know. I don't really know for sure, so I can't speak authoritatively on that. But man, it's just a fucked up situation. That just sucks. Our station, we have I don't know, from we have some friends that were in it's not Mongolia. What's the other M? The M country that's right near Ukraine. It's south and west of Ukraine. It's a You're going to make me pull up a map, aren't you?
Oh, you got me thinking now.
Not my. Okay. Russia map. Oh, Jesus.
That's so stupid. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. Wrong way. Georgia, Ukraine, Moldova.
Moldova.
Left Moldova, came to the United States, joined the military service, joined the U.S. Army, and then got out after several years, and now they're living great lives in the United States, working jobs and doing things, and hating on Russia. So, tell you what we're going to do. I know it's a little bit early, but I didn't go to the bathroom right before the show. So I think we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. It's going to be a really short break. It's going to be less than 5 minutes. It might be 5 minutes and some seconds, but yeah. So come back in just a couple of minutes, and we got the rest of the show ahead of us. We're going to talk about Iran, and then we're going to talk about the Koreas. What else? Where's there a Tesla? Being locked out of a Tesla. Some of the shortages in the United States and in the world are affecting the beer supply. We're going to talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll do a little bit of a Queen update. It's not an update. It's more of a. It's a funny thing. So we're going to talk about that. So come back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Attention. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to asbestos exposure. Call now. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to exposure to asbestos in the Navy, shipyards, mills, heating, construction of the automotive industries may have put you at risk. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to asbestos exposure. Call now.
Suck me in, we play this game
WTF Nation Radio.
Sometimes when I wipe, I'll wipe and I'll wipe and I'll wipe and I'll wipe 100 times. Still poop. It's like I'm wiping a marker or something.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
All right, here we are. Back again for the second hour of WTF Nation Radio's presentation of Friday Night Freedom. My name is Koz, and that is Pooky. What's going on, everybody? Hope you had a good break. Kind of shake out those blood clots.
Yeah.
Head to the restroom, grab a new beverage. Maybe say hi to the cat, put the kids to bed. Whatever else you do during break time.
Call JG Wentworth 877 cash now.
You had escaped. What I did is I found someone had done took all of the words and made a mesothelioma song. Dun, dun, to the Can song. Dun, 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 dun. So and they made it with the words from that commercial about if you or a loved one have been exposed to mesothelioma, you may be entitled to significant compensation and so on and so forth. So I thought it was funny. I got that off of the YouTube. I want to say Here I Ruined It. Did that presentation or did that mashup, and it was funny. So I recorded it and I thought I'd just share it with you. Hopefully we don't get but muted for it. We got muted last week in the beginning of our show because of we played Assuming We Survive song that we play all the time. But the thing is, Assuming We Survive has been signed by like a label, so I think they're kind of reining in the distribution of their music. So I get it. Go ahead.
No, I said, that's interesting. I'm surprised Facebook hasn't banned the national anthem yet.
I've gotten, and I do play the national anthem at the end of every broadcast, and I've been dinged a couple of times. We file appeals, and then it's like, oh, okay, you're good. It's the national anthem. It's not a copywritten song. It's the national anthem. Of course, it's played. When you hear it, if you guys hang out till the end of the show, it's really beautiful because it's played on bass by Stuart Ham, which is he's a badass bass player. But he played the national anthem. Stuart Ham.
Yes, great bass player.
So that's what you're hearing there. I don't even know if I talked about that. But yeah, that's Stuart Ham playing the national anthem. Really talented fucker, man.
Oh yeah, I was a bass player growing up.
Oh, okay, so you know.
Yeah. I looked up that he was like one of the top. I think Steve Harris is by far the best bass player on the planet, but that's just my opinion.
No, I like Steve Harris, but
Steve Harris.
I don't think he's one of the best. I think he's fast. He's good. He's accurate.
No, he's up there.
John Mayung is probably.
Mm-hmm. Stu Ham's up there, you know.
I think it's also
Les Claypool is a fucking excellent
dude.
bass player.
That guy is a mentally disturbed bass player. I saw a broadcast. It was Les Claypool playing. What was it, Tom the Cat? And it was just him, a drummer, and that's everything. That's what it was. But they were in a radio studio, and they were just like, it took a couple of takes for them to get the groove, but then once they got the groove, it was just like, it drove itself. And he's just going off on the bass, the drummer's going off on the drums, and they're talking to each other with their eyeballs, and it was awesome, man. It was really good. That's back in the day where, you know, playing music is a talent. Now it's just
everything's auto-tuned.
Now it's all auto-tuned, and you just load something up into a computer, and you can change it. You can change the beat, make sure everyone's on time. It's kind of boring. I like the idiosyncrasies of music and the making of mistakes. And if you listen to old like Led Zeppelin stuff, they make mistakes all through those albums. But it's awesome.
Well, Metallica did it on a couple of their albums where they were like, "Wow, that was a huge mistake," but I like the way that sounded, so it's staying on the album at that
Exactly.
point.
Yeah. Now everyone's got a laptop or in a little MIDI machine, and they just make everything happen, and the timing is perfect and the pitch is perfect, and it's kind of boring. I like the mistakes, but that's just me. So let's talk about Iran. You mentioned Iran earlier with all the protests. So what happened is the morality police were out and about in
the morality police. Just think about that.
Found someone who was not within. I guess they're. I'm probably saying this wrong. If the hijab, there's different words for that, but it was loose or it wasn't on correctly, so they got the shit beat out of them and they died. Which is absolutely horrible. So there's a bunch of protests and there's lots. I mean, the women are out there ripping their shit off and they're burning it. They've got big bonfires and women are just throwing their hijabs and stuff in there. Their headscarves.
Cutting their hair. They're cutting their hair.
They're cutting their hair. They're doing all. I mean, they're showing a lot more balls than I've seen in other countries. So this is a weird headline segment here because this headline hit me the wrong way. It really did, and it kind of pissed me off. So this weird headline is brought to you by the Associated Press, and the headline or the story reads: Yesterday, the U.S. government imposed sanctions on Iran's morality police and leaders of other government agencies after the death of a woman who had been detained over an accusation that she violated the country's dress code by wearing her Islamic headgear too loosely. So I read that again. The U.S. government has imposed sanctions on Iran's morality police. The sanctions come after at least 9 protesters have been killed in clashes with Iranian security forces since violence erupted over the weekend because of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini's death. My first reaction was, how in the world does the United States offer support at all to the morality police in Iran? Is there a line item in the budget for the Iranian morality police? What the fuck? Reading further, the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Asset Control also designated, and this is apart and separate from these sanctions for the morality police, they identified and designated leaders of the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security, the Army's ground forces, the Basij resistance forces, and other law enforcement agencies for the sanctions, which deny them access of their property and bank accounts held in the United States. Again, what the fuck? Why do these pieces of trash have any money in any of our banks? How could they possibly own any of our land in our country? How much land do you own in Iran, Pooky?
None.
If you could buy land in Iran, would you?
No, and they probably wouldn't let me in the first place.
I know, because we're the great Satan and all that other good stuff. Why are these fuckers allowed to own anything or take part of anything Western? Not only in the United States,
but why does any foreign nation have the ability to buy property in the United States? That's another thing that just blows my mind.
China buying up property,
food processing plants and all kinds of property
next to military installations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why?
We shouldn't allow that. As a country, I know we need to be kind of all inclusive and all this other stuff and be nice. I mean, you be nice to the people who are nice to you. I mean, you have a symbiotic relationship with your partners, with the UK, with anybody who is not a scumbag fucking Islamist.
But Iran, of all places, they're like a sworn enemy to us at this point. Hey, I want to come over here and buy some land. All right.
We're going to destroy your country, but before we do, I'm going to put some of my money in your bank accounts, and I'm going to buy some of your property and buy some of your buildings and whatever.
Yeah, we'll buy up all this farmland and not do anything with it. You know, like
So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way a lot. What kind of sanctions can we impose on a country that do we support them? And sanctions, we're going to sanction. Is this more like a strongly worded memo? Or do we actually send them support for these things? Maybe it was maybe it was a really poorly worded article. I don't know.
I haven't seen a good written article from Associated Press in a long time.
True. And I think most of this comes from it's like a weather report. Someone with a brain reports a story. Someone with their brain reports a weather report, and then 99.9% of the other journalists and other weather people just copy paste.
I noticed that a lot on the internet. A lot of people don't realize that is they highlight certain words on these news articles. And if you click on them, they will redirect you to just most of the time one source, like one article. You can read 50 different news websites dropping, it seems like a copy paste. But when you click on a link, it takes the original article, and that's exactly what they did. They just copy paste the entire article.
And there's no reference material. It's like one person wrote this article that people just glommed onto.
I've clicked on some of them hyperlinks in news, and like it says, look, you click on it and you go to it, and it's like a completely different article that has nothing to do with that, but they're sourcing something that's said in that article.
Correct.
So it's journalism's dead at this point. It really is.
Right. And there's folks that sit in their apartment and they get paid a journalist wage, whatever that is, to surf the internet and copy paste articles. And it's on Fox, it's on CNN, it's on MSNBC, it's everywhere. It's really hard to find objective journalism, and it's hard to find actually a journalist, an investigative journalist that actually does their homework.
There's a few.
There's definitely a few.
Most of the ones that are legit, like journalists, I follow on most of the social media. Like, there's a couple of them I don't agree with them on politically, but they'll dig into something, and I'm like, oh crap, I did not know about that, and they explain it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Then they don't tell me how to feel at the end of their conversation. Like, you should be outraged.
You know what really turns me on is tell me the news, and then let me make my own decision.
Let me figure this shit out.
Right. Let me use the tinfoil hat that I've got in my closet. Of course, yours is right next to you. Mine's actually in the closet somewhere.
I stay equipped.
It's actually under that black hat.
I had a surgical implant of aluminum lined my skull, so you don't have to worry about it.
So you've seen the vacation movies with Chevy Chase.
90s, 80s?
Yeah. Yeah, the dude, Uncle Eddie, who's got the military, the metal plate installed in his head or whatever his story is. So certain satellites fly overhead, and he goes and he pees on himself. So Korea.
Which one?
Yes.
You said yes. I said which one?
I said yes. I said yes. There's two, Chris. But guess what? We sent a boat there. First time in probably 8 years, since 2018. Look at that beast right there. That is a head-on shot of USS Ronald Reagan. That is that's badass.
It doesn't even do it justice. That picture doesn't even do it justice.
It doesn't. I think that's very awesome.
That's awesome, but when you see it like real life, you go, holy shit, that's a floating city. That's what that thing is. It's insane how big them things are.
I've never seen anything modern up close. Not an aircraft carrier, nothing.
I used to go to Norfolk a lot, so
you'd see that.
You'd see them coming in all the time. And first time I saw a cargo carrier, I was like, holy shit, that's big. And I saw an aircraft carrier, I was like, holy shit, that's like 12 times the size of a goddamn car. How does that thing even float?
Yes, Musa Elswani says it's called plagiarism. Yes, it is called plagiarism. But the thing is, and the thing is, no one reference. It's not plagiarism if you cite the source.
Source. That's it. That's how they get away with it. That's why you see them little blue hyperlinks floating along the news article, because when they're writing and they're putting their opinions in between the actual news, they're throwing them hyperlinks in there. So they're like, "Here's the source. Go read the source."
And then you click on the source, and it's like a cooking recipe, and it's like, hey,
wait a minute here.
So anyway, a U.S. aircraft carrier arrived in South Korea on Friday, today, for the first time in about 4 years. 4 years, I thought it was longer than that. Due to join South Korean ships in the military show of force aimed at sending North Korea a message. I hear that a lot. We got to send that. We have to send them a message.
The best message would just drop a tac nuke on fucking that run.
The USS Ronald Reagan and ships from its accompanying strike force docked at the Naval Air Station in the southern port of Busan. Its arrival marks the most significant deployment yet under a new push to have more U.S. nuclear-capable strategic assets operate in the area to deter North Korea. Dun, 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 there's the rocket guy. South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol has pushed for more joint exercises and other displays of military power as a warning to North Korea, which earlier this year conducted a record number of missile tests, and talks failed to persuade them to end their nuclear weapons and missile development. Observers say Pyongyang has also appears to be prepping to resume nuclear testing for the first time since 2017. So if I could look into my crystal ball, Koz is going to be, here's my crystal ball. What's going on here? It would likely be North Korea is going to be doing the same missile tests that they've done for years, because regardless of what they do, there's no consequences. There's no consequences at all for their actions.
Until they fuck up and hit Japan or South Korea by accident.
Or let's just say that they launch a vessel and it just happens to hit a fishing vessel that belongs to Japan. Yes. Behavior that is rewarded will be repeated. They keep on doing this stuff. They lob a missile and it falls into the water.
See, I think our ultimate, we should have some sort of, like, what do they call it, Iron Dome kind of shit set up, right along the international waters of North Korea. And anytime they decide, hey, we're going to shoot a missile, we should just, as soon as it hits international waters, just vaporize it, just to prove a point. Like, hey, dudes.
or do something, scramble its navigation system so it just goes right back where it came from.
Return to sender. Yeah.
Return to sender. .com, whatever they call that.
It was your own missile. You can't get mad at us.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I saw a video. It was a God, what was it? Iran? They launched a missile, and then it just came. It actually did a 180 and came back and boom.
It was that happened in Ukraine, from what I understand. It was a Russian missile platform that shot the missile, and a missile did its own little thing and came back to target. I don't know why.
It didn't come back right on point, but it came near. I mean, it was damn close. It was damn close.
Make you shit your pants,
Yeah. But then I saw, I think it was a live leak or something. They're like, no, this is wrong because the same thing happened here, and it was a different video of the same event. So I think it's the same weapons platform that malfunctioned in the same way in two different places. So tell me about your Tesla. Do you own a Tesla?
No.
Does anybody here in the audience own a Tesla? I know lots of people that own Teslas.
I would.
I would too. I don't know if anybody here in the audience owns a Tesla. I love the Tesla. I think it's pretty damn cool. I think it's a remarkable vehicle. So Tesla right now is issuing a voluntary recall. Let's look at this. Tesla is issuing a voluntary recall on nearly 1.1 million vehicles because they have a pinch protection on their windows that allows that. It's called pinch protection. Like if your hands are in the window,
the window can't close with enough force to damage it.
I got you.
Well, it's malfunctioning or the calibration on it is off. So it'll do damage to your fingers. So there's a voluntary recall for that. Tesla first discovered the issue during an in-house testing in August and validated it early in September. Dude, I do testing all the time with different software loads. You do a test with a software load. You do another test with a different software load. Why does it take Tesla a month to do this? I don't know. But according to documents filed with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, this voluntary recall is in place. The pinch protection feature is meant to prevent injury to an occupant's extremities as a window closes. Federal guidelines say that the system should have activated at no more than a squeezing force of 100 newtons before reversing. 100 newtons is about 22.5 pounds or 10 kilos. The recall affects the Model 3 from manufacturing years 2017 to 22, the Model Y from 20 to 21, and the Model S and the X from model year 21 and 22. New vehicles should have the update installed before the vehicle is delivered to the new customers, and owners of existing vehicles will not need to bring them in for service at all because Tesla will just give them a free airdrop update, which is freaking amazing. Really amazing. So imagine 22 pounds of force, 100 newtons of force, but look at the width of a window. So that's maybe a millimeter, 2 millimeters.
Yeah,
that's
slicey at that point.
22 pounds of pressure over a millimeter is a lot. You can do some damage.
If you would have asked me this question 20 years ago, I would have been able to spit the freaking exact pressure out. But I can't do that no more. So.
So you can do some damage. I think 22 pounds is a lot.
That's crazy. It only takes like 8 pounds of pressure to crush a human skull, from what I understand. But no.
I've never tested that. Apparently, you have.
I've only heard this.
I read this on the internet.
It was on the internet, so it must be true. Well, you're talking about like recalls and stuff like that. Did you hear about the what is it, the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board or whatever it is? They're talking about making breathalyzers mandatory in all vehicles and new vehicles.
Like for whatever you gotta blow to start your car.
You gotta blow to start your car. That's what they're talking about. Like I think it's like 2023, 2025. They're talking about like any new vehicle that is produced in the United States must have some sort of alcohol detection system in it. I saw that. I think it was like 3 or 4 days ago. It popped up on my.
And it'll take 30 seconds for anybody to bypass that.
Bypass it, but think about it though. You bypass the safety system, so now you're definitely in trouble.
Well, you don't bypass it. I mean, have some. If this is your thing, if you go out and you get fucked up and you like to drive, I don't agree with your decision, but it does.
Here,
it
kid,
probably
blow on
won't.
This for me.
It won't take a lot to bypass that.
I know that, but I think that's actually like a good idea in a sense. You make freaking people get DUIs to do it, for safety reasons. Why not just prevent DUIs and lock the vehicle out before people can drive it?
There are plenty of shitty drivers out there without alcohol or drugs or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So to cleanse that pool, I don't know enough about it to talk about it.
You gotta have some sort of, what do you call it, like natural selection still in the human species.
You have to.
Wait, it's traffic. It's what it is. Who would have guessed the roads?
When I was young and stupid, that's what I did. I mean, when I was in the military, we'd go out to the bars and get fucked up. Dude, you want to ride home? No, I'm good, man. You just got to learn. You got to learn how to drive intoxicated. You just got to learn how to drive. Dude, that was so stupid. That was so stupid. And even now, I mean, I should be either a a consequence for my action was a recipient of a DUI or a car accident or something worse. But I wasn't. So, you know, I can talk and be a smart ass about it, and seem to have no feelings towards it. But I think that there's more things that we can do proactively as a society to discourage driving while intoxicated, because that's just stupid. Have a go to your. I mean, we have this at work all the time. It's like, hey, we're gonna have, you know, we're gonna do axe throwing at this bar, or we're gonna do, you know,
like
it's
a
just
kind of taxi fun. Kind of like a taxi fun.
Or like here's Uber bucks or something that you get if you don't miss a day after 6 months, you get, you know, fucking, you know, $45 in Uber credits or whatever, so you can get a ride home or something like that. I mean, it's good to have team building exercises where there's alcohol involved. That's great. But I mean, you don't get your team tanked and then say, "Okay, see you Monday for work, bro."
Holly's with me on that. She agrees with it. I mean, you make it mandatory for people to wear a seatbelt, and make it mandatory for people to make it like, hey, you can't get in your vehicle and start it up if you're drunk. You know, you blow a .04, all of a sudden it's like, hey, sober up a little bit, my dude, before you can drive anywhere. You know, and just
that's what they ought to do. That's what I mean. It doesn't disable your vehicle totally, but it's like, hey,
no,
20
sober
minutes.
up a bit.
In 20 minutes, try it again. And then if it went from 0.4 to or 0.04 to 0.02, okay, you're good. Drive home. But then, you know, folks are going to sue if they get in an accident or whatever. It's like, hey, the car let me start it.
Yeah, there's nuances to that.
Yeah.
I can barely drink and drive. Like, I can barely drink and walk, let alone drive. Okay, I read that backwards, but alright. I can't ride a bicycle when I'm drunk. I can't do it.
It's sure fun to try though. You think you're great, and the next thing you're like in a ditch or in a pond or something. So back to the Tesla stories. When people hear the word Tesla, they often think of a brand new, state-of-the-art, all-electric vehicle, saving the planet. Tesla has, in fact, been turning out all-electric cars since 2009, with the Tesla Roadster and then the Model S in 2012. Mario Zelaya is a TikToker from Toronto, Canada. Have you seen his video?
I have not.
His video went viral after making a video about how upset he was. He was very upset that he was locked out of his car after his battery pack died. He was upset even further when he learned how much it would cost to replace the battery pack. Mario claimed that he paid $140,000 for his brand new S model in 2013. He also claimed that it would cost him approximately $21,000 US to replace the battery. So I did a shockingly little bit of research. So here's this guy. He's really upset. So I did shockingly little research and found out that the top-notch performance sedan Model S sold for $95,000 in 2013. I don't know where he's getting $140,000 from. Even at $140,000 Canadian, that only comes out to about $103,000 United States. So I'm not sure where all that money came from. Perhaps he was embellishing on the story. Whatever he did, it worked, because he's getting a lot of attention from the media. He's done a lot of interviews. He's done a lot of other posts and stuff. And I'm even seeing him on my timeline, just trying to get sympathy and support. So if you look, you know, that model in 2013, his model at the most would cost $95,000, $95,080. But I'm not even sure if that's the model that he had. So he decided that he simply was not going to sell the vehicle for whatever. So he just wanted to buy another vehicle. The problem is that his ownership papers were inside the vehicle, and he couldn't get into the vehicle.
So I don't know. I'm not sure how any of this works, but online forums, if you just Google shit, Google is a great tool because you can figure out how to do stuff. There's two ways to get into a car that has been locked. One is by removing the front bumper, and then you do some stuff there. And number two is reaching up into the wheel well and then doing some stuff there. Mario said that he quote didn't have time for all that. So he opted to
get out of here.
So he opted to pay $30 for new ownership papers, and then he got into his car. Apparently, he sold his car for $20,000. So in my seconds of research, I found out that right now, let's just say that Koz owned a 2013 Model S, and I needed the battery changed. How much should I be expected to pay for it?
$30,000.
$18,000. $18,000 out the door.
And he got what, 10 years out of that? Huh?
He got 10 years out of the battery. Yeah, his car is a 2013, so it's a 9-year-old car. And the battery got fucked up.
So 10 years, you're usually looking, I don't know how you're driving a gas powered car, but most people put 150,000 miles on a gas powered car within 10 years, right? Huh?
Yep.
200,000. That's about the time where you have to have a complete engine rebuild at that point, huh?
Either a complete engine rebuild or just, trash it and get another car.
Trade it. Yeah, so
scrap price.
So $18,000, I mean, a gas engine rebuild is probably cheaper than that, but I mean, just consider that you're every 10-year engine rebuild at that point, huh?
So check this out. Sounds to me like Mario is not only terrible at negotiating the price of a vehicle, he sucks at basic mechanics, and he likely doesn't solicit bids to find the best prices for repairs. He just says, okay, he gets one bid. Okay, I'll pay it. Tesla battery replacement cost varies depending on the labor and the parts needed. And this is based on my research. If I needed a battery replaced in my Tesla from 2013. Typically, the most basic battery replacement in a Tesla costs between $11,000 and $13,000. The high performance and extra capacity batteries cost around $13,000 to $17,000. But be prepared to pay about $200 to $500 extra for parts, and then about $500 in labor. The cost to recycle a Tesla battery is about $7,000.
If they're charging you to recycle the battery?
But it costs the customer nothing. Tesla picks up that bill to replace the battery or to recycle the battery.
I was about to say, if Tesla's charging you to recycle the battery, there's Tesla, a big no-no there at that point. Huh?
Tesla picks up that cost. So it's about $18,000 out the door for a new battery in an old Tesla. That is a lot of money, but why did he expect the battery to last forever? The car's 9 years old. So researching further, I discovered that Tesla batteries, based on the Tesla website, are supposed to last about 20 years or 300 to 500,000 miles under normal use. Mario's issue with Tesla seems to be a design flaw where condensation from the AC drips either on or near the battery packs, causing them premature failure. His Tesla only had 77,000 miles on it. I can understand why he's a little bit upset about his situation. But he embellished the shit out of it. He had a case without embellishing anything. There's a design flaw in these Teslas. Maybe it's just this model, maybe it's others. He could have gone that route. But he ended up kind of blowing it up and trying to get sympathy. And he's got a lot of sympathy. So he ended up selling his Tesla for $20,000 after he got into it. So think of this. You're out there, you're an investor, you're looking for a Tesla. You're going to buy a fucked up Tesla for $20,000. You're going to give a guy $20,000 cash for a Tesla. Then you're going to fork over another $20,000, let's say, to get the battery replaced. So you're paying $40,000 for an essentially great Tesla that just happened to have a bad battery. That's a good deal.
$40,000 for a Tesla is insane at that point, no?
Especially now. These are today's prices. I think Tesla needs to make a hybrid. I'd be all over that.
Yeah, it kind of goes away from their kind of
the all EV, saving the planet, let's go to Mars type mantra, right?
Yeah, I can get behind the whole like electric car kind of thing, especially if you're going to travel to Mars. You want a Cybertruck. You definitely want a Cybertruck on Mars. That'd be awesome on Mars, driving around Mars with a Cybertruck. But no, that's Tesla's all about the electric. That's where we're going. That's where we're headed. You better embrace for it. No,
I do like Teslas, but in an all EV, I'm not there yet.
The hybrid, I like the concept of the hybrid. I think my sister has it's a Volt or one of those Chevy where it's a hybrid where it gets like 99 miles to a gallon or something crazy like that.
The Chevy Volt, I want to say the Volt is an all electric.
So it might be
Tesla. I'm sorry, Prius. Prius is a hybrid. It's a Toyota.
She owns one that's I think it's a Nissan or something or a Toyota or something like that, but it gets like 100 miles to a gallon. It's hybrid. She still has to plug it up, get the battery charged and stuff like that. But when the battery starts running low while you're driving, and the gas motor kicks on to charge your battery, so you don't have to stop.
And that's what I've got. I've got a Ford Fusion hybrid, and I'm not pushing it. I like this car. You're not going to win any races on it, but dude, when I drive to work, it's about 20 miles each way. 22 work, 26 back, but I get 50 miles a gallon, and it's great. It's great because all the in city, the side roads and stuff, it's all battery. When I get on the interstate, it's usually all gas. So I get about 50. I do get about 50 miles a gallon, which is awesome.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
As far as an all electric vehicle, when I go on road trips, I want to drive. I don't want to have to find a charging station after about 200 or 300 miles. And that's the problem that I have with Tesla. It doesn't have range.
I've ever owned a vehicle that had a gas mileage over 20 miles per gallon.
But it's easy. It's easy to stop for gas. You stop for gas. You go and you get a Coke, some chips, some combos, and you get back in the car, and you're in and out in 10 minutes tops.
Charging, well,
you gotta charge like an hour to get.
Well, here's
up
the
to
crazy
80%.
part about it is my friend was explaining this to me the other day, and I was like, man, that would piss me the hell off. But apparently, they call them like charging Karens, where charging Karens.
Okay.
So you go say, I've got my trip plan. I need to charge for 2 hours. Screw us just sitting here watching Netflix on the TV. I'm gonna charge by the mall. We can shop at the mall for 2 hours. And then when we get back out, our car's charged. Do what we need to, go watch a movie at the movie theater or something like that. But when they come out, their car's unplugged.
Oh.
And apparently all you have to do, like, I guess people are making locks for it now where you actually have to have like a key fob in order to unlock it. But there's people who will walk up and be like, hee, and unplug your shit and just let it sitting on the ground.
Oh, shit.
So, I mean, you could not get any... I would be so mad at that point. I spent 2 hours shopping in the mall expecting to come back to a full charge so we can get back on the road. But now I got to sit here and wait another 2 hours.
It's kind of funny. I've got a guy at work that has a Jeep Wrangler. It's like he's got this thing all tricked out. It's nice. Got big tires. It's just it's a nice Jeep. Jeep's horrendous mileage. Super bad mileage.
Maybe 13, 16, maybe 20 at the max.
It's a wind dam, but he's got a Tesla charging port on the back side of his Jeep, so he can park in EV parking, take the charging thing, hook it up to his Jeep. It doesn't do anything. It just plugs in. It plugs in and it attaches to his Jeep.
So he's taking up a whole EV slot just to be an asshole?
Yes. Which is, it's funny. It's really funny. He says he doesn't do that. He's done it, but he doesn't do it on the regular. That's hilarious.
It's like kind of like I used to drive a diesel truck. I'd get so mad because like most gas stations have like maybe 2 diesel pumps, maybe 1 at the max.
Yeah.
So you go to pull up to the diesel pump, there's someone there pumping gas, and there's all the other gas pumps open, but they decided to stop specifically at the diesel pump. Like, dude. Little consideration here.
I know. God, I hate that. Baconator says, "What's up? Are you still live, Ice? Brother, I'm not Ice. I'm Koz. The thing is, Ice has been accused of being me. But no, this is Koz. and it's Pooky.
I have a picture of both Ice and Koz standing next to each other.
Yes. But this is us. This is Pooky. This is me. This is us. Baconator. Our voices do. I've also been accused of being Redleg. I don't think anybody's got a silky smooth voice like Redleg does on staff.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. So let's talk about. I've got sad beer news. Sad beer. I should have written. Well, I guess we're gonna fucking do this live. I have no idea. Is this it? No, it's not. This is the price of the Teslas. This is sad beer. This is sad beer news. So we've all been experiencing shortages of material things in the past couple of years. Toilet paper at one point, bleach, cleaning supplies, but now there's something new. Now there's a carbon dioxide production shortage. It's caused by natural contamination at the Jackson Dome, a Mississippi reservoir of CO2 from an extinct volcano. First of all, I had no idea there was a volcano in Mississippi. Did you know that? I had no idea.
That's new news to me. It did.
I know. It's just crazy. You'll learn all kinds of new crap on WTF Nation Radio. But it's forcing brewers to cut back. Brewers across the country are reporting production delays in getting beer to the market and drafting contingency plans to switch to nitrogen as opposed to CO2. I mean, nitro beer is a thing. It is a thing.
That's what Guinness is. Guinness is a nitrogen beer. It don't have carbon dioxide.
Night Shift Brewery. I practiced this, dude. I was making dinner tonight. Brewery. It's like saying rural. Living in a rural community. Rural. Dude, I can't say this shit sober, let alone drinking. Night Shift Brewery outside Boston shut down a facility after being told that their carbon dioxide supply was cut for the foreseeable future, possibly more than a year. Others who have access to carbon dioxide are paying 3 to 4 times as much. I don't know what a cubic pound.
So confused.
I don't know what a cubic pound of carbon dioxide costs.
I am so confused. Because the whole process of brewing beer produces, like, if you home brew and you want some carbonation, you don't go and squirt carbon. It's part of the process.
Right. Reclaim it.
I don't understand. Is like, I've brewed beer before, and I've made wine before, but I've made my beer. There's a way to make your beer so it's bubbly.
So how do I reclaim this? Okay. I need to find a way to reclaim my escaped carbon dioxide. Okay. How do I reclaim that? And I can give it to my friends who brew beer. Beer makers, particularly small independent craft brewers, are struggling right now with inflation and supply chain troubles. It has become a struggle to keep the doors open. On the other side, there's a handful of brewers out there who are insulated from the shortage because they use innovative technology to capture natural carbon dioxide from the brewing process, which you just mentioned.
Hard to do.
And then they store it for future use. They store so much that they actually, Denver Beer Company in Colorado uses reclaimed CO2, and then they sell all the extra to the cannabis companies for the grow houses.
Yeah.
Beer prices have risen less than the broader food and beverage market, but that could change if this is pervasive. I don't know if like Miller Brewing or whoever does Budweiser or all the other beers, if they're experiencing this. I haven't seen an uptick in beer prices. Really?
I haven't either.
Not recently. Within the last couple of years, yeah, you went from $17 a case to $19 a case. That's inflation happens. I haven't seen a major uptick in prices.
So I'm like confused on another sense, right? They're always talking about carbon dioxide in the atmosphere warming the planet. So can't we just pull the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere? And I mean,
like stick a big hose up there and just suck it up.
I'm sure there's a scientific method of how to do it. I'm just confused about this whole thing. Like, I've made homemade beer. I never had to inject carbon dioxide in it to get it bubbly.
It just
never
happens.
Had to do that.
It just happens.
Yes.
You put it in a bottle and you seal it up, and it is. It doesn't. The
byproduct of the yeast eating the sugar. It creates carbon dioxide.
But if I've never brewed beer before, but let's say you put the beer in a bottle, you put the cap on it and seal it. How long does it keep? I can take, let's say a case of Miller Lite. I can stick that in the refrigerator and it'll stay there for months. Can you take your home brew, stick it in the fridge, and then...
Depends on your bottling process. That really boils down to how you bottle your beers at that point.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, they've got the old German pop tops, like they got the metal built into the neck, and those are the best to use, other than some people like to, use the cap when they brew beer. I've
got guys that go down. We have they have growlers, and they go and they refill their growlers rather than go to the store and buy like a 12-pack of beer or whatever. They go and refill their growlers. Yeah,
you go to your local brewer up and say, "Here's a growler. Fill me up 2 or 3 of them."
And they'll actually sanitize it before they fill it too. It's awesome.
Yeah. That's actually a good way to get good beer. Actually, a lot of people don't realize that. Putting out that information.
It's so inconvenient for me because I like to complain a lot. It's not convenient for me. So I would rather go to Walmart and buy a 12-pack of beer rather than go and get good beer from a local brewer and have them stick it in a growler. Because I like to complain a lot.
I mean, just make moonshine, you'll be all right.
So basically... Let's just say we're hypothesizing here because none of us make moonshine. How's that done?
Hypothesizing. You throw some yeast and some corn mash, and it bubbles up and produces carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, and then the water drips off, and that's the stuff.
The alcohol gets mixed in with the mash, and then when you distill the mash, you break the mash down, you distill it, run it through how many thumpers you want to, or whatever you want to do, and the clear liquid coming out the other end is pure alcohol, almost pure alcohol.
You're talking a little bit authoritatively for not having ever done this before.
I was born in the Appalachian Mountains. I do know how that process works.
You read it on the internet. We'll just say
yeah. I saw this on the internet.
I thought about doing that, but I'm just like, man, there's just so much crap and it just involved, and I don't have it's a hobby. It would be a hobby, and I don't know if I'm willing to invest into that hobby.
That's like making mead. People don't like. I say mead. People are like, "What's mead?" It's honey wine.
Okay. Oh, I knew it was honey wine, but what's the difference between that and, let's say,
beer? You can make beer. Well, I mean, okay, the same process. Anything going into the beer process. Let's say we're brewing beer, right? We make a mash. You make your wort turns into your mash. Whole process. People are going to correct me on this because
you can make beer, but it's illegal to distill your own fucking spirits.
But if I take the mash that's been sitting, and I decide instead of making it into a beer, brew it into a beer, I decide, hey, I'm going to distill this down in some grain, like good stuff, a good 80 proof, 100 proof moonshine. It's illegal to do that. Well, in some states you can actually make it as long as you don't have more than like so many, I guess a gallon or something in your house or something like that.
Personal use.
Yes, personal use, but. You don't got Popcorn Sutton up there making like 70, 80 barrels of, moonshine to sell out to the public. That's illegal.
Make America Chuck Norris again.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The process of making alcohol is not that hard.
I've never invested any of my mental capacity to doing that.
It's cool. Make muscadine wine a lot. Where I was living, I had muscadine vines growing up the trees where I lived, so I just snatched some muscadines and make wine out of it.
That's
and jelly.
That's cool. That's very cool.
So everyone knows, but dude, have you seen this? It's this thing going around on the internet. It's like it's a message, and it says, "Hi, I'm the Queen. I'm not really dead. Prince Charles put me on a deserted island." Yeah,
it's a scam message.
I know.
Please send me $30 so I can get some biscuits.
Exactly. I just want to send him $30 just for fucking trying.
Like, good job, my man. That's like where was I at? Asheville, North Carolina. I'm walking around. This was years ago, but there's a hippie sitting on the side of the street with a sign that says, he's like, I ain't begging for money. I just want drug money. You know, I just want money for pot or something along the lines.
What kind of drugs? Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I think he says I just want some money to buy some weed or some crazy crap like that. I don't know what it said, but when I saw it, I was like, here's $5. Have a good day.
Exactly, dude. Good luck, man.
At least you're honest at this point.
I would be
about my children.
I would be more inclined to give money to someone who said, dude, I just want a beer, or I just want to buy some pot. Rather than, I've got 14 screaming, starving
14 kids, and I'm stranded, and I need gas money, and that whole yeah.
Yeah, dude, just tell me, you want a beer, dude? I'm going to give you $20, and I'm going to take you out for a beer. How about that? So anyway, the Queen is dead. And I showed the long queue of people last week in line trying to see her stuff.
Are they still standing in line?
No, she's buried. They planted her. But with the death of the Queen Elizabeth II, the Royal Australian Mint has announced plans to replace her face on the coins with the new monarch's mug, King Charles III. But Australians are not having it. An online campaign is online right now, and they want Steve Irwin's mug on there.
I was about to go into this. I was about to say, if anyone should go on an Australian dollar somewhere, it should be good old Steve Irwin.
The profile of Queen Elizabeth II has graced Australian coins since 1953 after she took the throne following the death of her father, King George, the Roman numerals 6th. And while the Queen's coins will remain in circulation now, a new currency must be produced in accordance with the tradition. Assistant Minister for the Treasury, Andrew Lay, says a new effigy of King Charles III is being produced, adding that Australians can expect to see it sometime in 2023. Queen Elizabeth II also appears on Australia's $5 bill, and at this time, the Reserve Bank of Australia currently has no official plans for its replacement. So I think Steve Irwin is, and there's a bunch of other candidates that I had never heard of, and they apparently have some very big significance in Australia to be placed on that currency. I think, dude, Steve Irwin. Look at that. I mean, perfect. Look at that post though. He's like, "All right, cheers. That'll be 5 crocodilly-doos, mate."
If you're gonna put people on your currency, I could never understand putting leaders on your currency.
No, I mean, look at Saddam Hussein.
I don't understand. It's like worship to the monarch, pretty much.
Exactly.
At that point, no?
I mean, former leaders. I mean, United States currency is former leaders.
The Benjamin.
He
was
Abraham Lincoln.
He was a senator or something like that, but Benjamin was not a president. All the other ones are presidents, I think.
Exactly. He was just a dude, a good dude. He was a dude.
He was the dude.
The dude. One of the main dudes. Before the United States just fucking kicked the Queen's ass. What?
Doesn't Canada have the Queen on her currency?
They do, and I wish I saved some of the currency. I spent all of my paper dollars. I've got a bunch of Canadian stuff. I think I got tons of coinage. They got plastic money up there, though. If you look at the Canadian dollars, it's like plastic money. It doesn't feel real.
Well, where I grew up, like as a kid, you'd see Canadian money just flow around all the time because I lived in Pennsylvania, so it was close to Canada or whatever it is. So you'd go get your change back, you see a Canadian quarter. But
yeah, and that sucks.
You'd It would suck, but most people would accept the Canadian quarter as a 25-cent piece where I lived at. So they would just be like, all right. So it was whatever the currency was at that point, huh?
Now you get Canadian cash that's worth actually less. It's worth less than
euro. Hold on, I gotta look this up now. I think
the euro's down like 25%,
almost to $1, almost to $1 value now.
Is it less? Yeah. I think it's less.
Let me see here. Euro, $1 equals 98 cents.
Yeah, it's less, a little bit.
So that's crazy though. Like when the euro first kicked off, I think it was like almost like $2 per euro.
It was more. It was more. More. It took more dollars to buy euros.
Let's see the yen. Let me look at the yen. Yen to US dollar, because there's like been this major collapse. It's 1 Japanese yen equals 0.007.
Let's see, $1 $2.
Let me convert this. $1 US equals 142 yen. So that's it's crazy what's going on right now with the currency exchange. I don't know how we even started talking about currency. I don't
know. Okay, $1 US to. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So when I was in Korea, $1 was about 700 won. Now it's $1 is about 1,400 won.
We're talking about 2019, I think. The Japanese yen was almost 100 yen to $1. They don't do pennies over there. They just do
right. Yeah, they just round it up.
So like 100 would be the equivalent of $1, and it was the closest I've seen it. Now it's 140 yen to the dollar. So it's nuts at that point. Huh? Currency has definitely changed over the last 4 years.
It has. It's off. I mean, whoever's in the currency market out there, God bless you, because there's a lot to pay attention to. So what do we have coming up this week? I don't know if we do we have a cut sheet?
I give you a second.
Gadir.
You know how to pull it up. This is why I like having my phone sit next to me, so I just pull the meal up and see the schedule possible.
So we were supposed to have this badass guest tonight, and we kind of dropped the ball on that, and we're going to have them back, and it's really upsetting to have a guest that you're a fan of, and then you're just not able to make it happen, and we have to postpone. So Friday Night Freedom's going to have a badass guest coming up soon. No, I don't have any current. I don't have any current guests coming up. CQ always has great guests. I think he's going to have his prior guest back again, because I'm thinking she had a bad hotel internet connection, which happens. Yeah, which happens. That happens, man. You can't just rely on hotel Wi-Fi for good connections. I got a whole bunch of task and purpose stuff. No, I don't have any current guests that are coming up, but Ice is out for the time being. I think he's going to be back first week of October. Mm-hmm. And so we've got shows. Monday is a Monday edition. Tuesday is Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar. Thursday is Sergeant's Time with Ice, and Friday is me and Pooky. And we're here for your pleasure. And I mean that in the dirtiest way possible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So here we are playing Gay Chicken on WTF Nation Radio. All right, everybody. Hey, Branko's here. I think I saw him say hi earlier. Hello, Branko. I'm sorry I missed you.
Hello, Jason, Lotta, Rayleigh, Mozilla, Gary, all y'all. Thanks for listening to us.
Man, do you want to pronounce those again?
I probably will not do that.
Musa Alzwani. I know that's one that you were trying to pronounce.
Yeah, I'm bad with. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty good at pronouncing. I'm bad at remembering.
I got a flat tongue, so I can't help that.
Flat tongue. What is that? It just doesn't. It doesn't. You can't form it. You can't.
Like no, like I can't rule my R's. Like I was trying to learn Spanish, and when you try to rule, I'm like, I can't do it. Huh?
You can't do the.
Can't do it.
Oh. Anyway, that's the show for tonight.
Weird way to end the show. I can't speak Spanish. I understand it, but I can't speak it.
You're no Latinx here, brother.
Oh, you just triggered dice, man.
I'm sorry. He's out of the loop. He's not hearing this. He'll never hear this.
He heard that. That made his nose itch.
He's gonna get a text at like 11 o'clock tonight, going, "They said Latinx." Anyway, we're gonna be back next week. Thank you all for hanging out today. You got any parting words for our lovely audience?
Yeah, don't drink drive, don't kick your dog, don't beat your spouse, and stay out of trouble. Don't add to the population, don't subtract to the population. We'd be all good at that point, no?
That sounds good to me. Thank you all for hanging out. My name is Koz, and we're out of here. Thanks for being here.
WTF Nation Radio.
My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. This is WTF Nation Radio.